So welcome. This is my episode of B Stole My Look, or Bitch Stole My Look. So have you guys ever seen the show by, it was Joan Rivers, the Fashion Police, Giuliana Rancic was on the show, but they had this segment where B stole my look. So today it is B Stole My Look for, our oldie but super goodie MAC Blue Brown Pigment. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. Hey guys, this is Ashleigh. Welcome on back to my channel. So as I just mentioned, B stole the Blue Brown Pigment's look, okay? B stole her look and it's just a fun play, and I have been wanting to do this video forever, okay? So basically on the show, the Fashion Police, like I just explained, you know, somebody would have on this outfit and then the next star would have on the same outfit, and who wore it better? B stole my look. So I was thinking about this. I've been thinking about this video forever. I've been trying to do this video probably since 2020. But literally, you know, you get these eyeshadow palettes and you're looking at the shades and you're like, oh, this is a pretty dual chrome or a multi-chrome. Well, I wouldn't even say so much a multi-chrome, but such a pretty color. And you go in and you're like, wait, this is definitely the Pigment by MAC Cosmetics called Blue Brown. Here she is. As you can see, mine is old as dirt, circa like, I don't even know, probably. I tried to look on Temptalia to see if when, you know, it might have come out. The earliest dating I think I could kind of find was 2009, but I'm pretty sure I've had it prior to 2009. And I want to say it was somewhere in my college days because I started wearing MAC pigments around 2001, 2002. Went to college in 2002. So like I said, old as dirt. I mean, freshman class, FAMU, 2002. 20 years since we got on the highest of 7 Hills. Anyway, let me go ahead and introduce myself. You can tell I haven't filmed it forever. I can't even remember to introduce myself. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. And if you're oldie but goodie, welcome on back. My name is Ashleigh. I have a doctorate in pharmacy. I love makeup. So that's how you get Dr. Ash and her makeup. But please just call me Ash or Ashleigh. And guess what? Eyeshadow, it's my jam. It's one of my favorite things to talk about on my channel. So I am talking about basically the evolution of the blue brown shade. So as I just mentioned, this eyeshadow is old as dirt, but every time I see these little shadows pop up in my eyeshadow palette or, you know, single shadows, I'm like, that really looks like MAC Cosmetics Blue Brown. So today I've pulled out about, maybe about 10 palettes, one single, and some are like just straight on dupes. And some are like, they're inspired by, okay? So have the luxurious pigment. We're gonna do a tutorial on this beautiful baby right here. But let's open this up, okay? So we can see what we are working with. And like I said, it's the Pigment. I've had it forever. It's still good, whatever. Whatever. It's still good. Still work like brand new today. But this is what the shade looks like, you know. So this is just the cap right here. And here's the actual jar. I much prefer these jars, or I like the jars that have the wider opening because they're so much easier to use versus the new situation with the pigments where they're very tiny bottles, although yes, more economical, but I mean, honestly, you're going to have to use some type of, spatula, or you're going to have to use some type of mixing palette in order to get that pigment out. But this is just easy. I love to just have it right here. This is the inner cap. This is the cap. This is the inner cap. Love, you get plenty of product right here. You don't need to dip in to the big jar. So let's go ahead. Let's swatch it. Very, very creamy. So high shine. Let's see what the basis of the finish is of this particular pigment. I don't even think it tells us. It's so old. Is it even on here anymore? But usually the pigments by MAC, you get a lot of bang for your buck. They were the first ones, you know, MAC has been the one been wearing forever. They were the first ones to have these beautiful colors and just colors you wouldn't normally see. So here we go. We have our pigment, blue brown. So this is what we're basing our looks off of. So for the swatch portion, I'm going to kind of dim the exposure on the camera so you could actually see the true color. And let's go ahead and swatch this out. Like I said, this is all in fun. Like all these shades, they definitely look alike. When I put it on my eyes, I was like, oh, I remember this shade looking like this. But then I was like, I don't know if I remember this shade looking like this. And I'm like, I definitely have dupes. Definitely have dupes in this collection of mine. All right, so I turned the exposure down and let's see. Let's start with our first shade. I'm trying to figure out how I should swatch these. Let's see. I think I'll swatch them on my hand because you always usually see them pretty well on your hand. But then I want to show it in a row. Okay, so at the end I'll show it in a row so you can see what all the colors kind of look like together. So this is our blue brown shade. I mean, wow, look at that. You definitely see the turquoise, you see the hints of red, you see the green. It is stunning. It is really a stunning shade, and this was a shade that, you know, we hadn't seen before prior to MAC coming out with this. Now, if anybody had this shade in their lineup prior to MAC Cosmetics, please let me know down below. But this is the first one I do remember. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more so you can see what it looks like on my hand. And this is what it looks like up against the back part of my hand. Okay. It's very beautiful. Look at the shine on that shade. Oh, MAC was on to something. I need them to keep it up. They were like the originators. What are they doing? So that is our standard for today. Everybody else stole her look, okay? Stole it. Now next up, a palette that definitely comes to mind is the Tiny Marvels palette. This palette is by Sydney Grace in collaboration with Mel Thompson. Rest in heaven, our friend. She is a definite, she's missing in this beauty community. We are definitely missing her presence. But she had this palette that came out. Mine's a bit of a mess because this shade broke. But she has this shade Scarab, okay? And Scarab was actually in another shade that Sydney Grace actually had in their lineup, and it was actually called Red Chameleon. So if you have Red Chameleon, you have the shade Scarab. So, I picked up a lot. Sydney Grace formula is off the chain. Look at this. I kind of rubbed my finger in it a lot, so a lot has come up. Kind of looks like my finger is peeling there. But really beautiful shade, okay? So first I'm going to go ahead and swatch it here. Look, baby. Buttery and creamy. Oh, still really great. And this palette came out in what, maybe 2019 or was it 2020? I like the palette might have came out in 2020. And this is going to be the swatch on the palm of my hand. Look, shadow's still going. Ugh, gorgeous. So if that and that doesn't look alike, I don't know what to tell you. But definitely we have the shade Red Chameleon that's already by Sydney Grace, and then once Mel Thompson put it in her palette, she renamed it Scarab to go along with the theme of her palette of the Tiny Marvels. Really, really beautiful. All right, I keep sliding in my chair, but next up we got the Jackie Aina palette. Jackie. Look at that. So this is her collaboration with Anastasia Beverly Hills, and we have the shade Sponsored, okay? Sponsored. So Sponsored's definitely giving the blue vibe, blue-brown vibes. Really pretty color right here. So we're gonna pick some of her up. Beautiful shade as well. So this is the shade Sponsored in the Jackie Aina palette. Look how close. Give our swatch on our hand. So this shade is definitely pulling more, I would say, on the turquoise, a little bit cooler side. But you still see some of the red, but you don't see as much as the red flip with this particular shade as you do Scarab or the original blue brown. I'm gonna dip in, and I feel like you definitely, unlike why I did pick up a lot of shade Scarab, but you do need to kind of, this shade is smooth, but not as great as the Sydney Gray shade or the matte shade. So if you see right here, you do have that faint brown in here. It's not as red and green, and then it is opaque, but I would say that the other two shades are definitely more opaque. Beautiful. I swear, I just keep sliding and sliding down in my chair. So next up, I have a holiday quad. This was actually the holiday quad from last year. Yes? Yes, yes. No, yes. Well, I need to get it together. This is Celestial Odyssey. So this is the Deep Space Divinity quad, okay? And so in here we have the shade Alien Moon. Haha. Yes, Mama Pat, okay? So actually, all right, yes. So Celestial Odyssey did come out last year in 21. I love to know when my Pat McGrath palettes came out. Once again, this shade, beautiful, smooth, feeling opulent. Now it's actually kind of funny because I have a couple Pat McGrath shades in here that could definitely fall, okay? So I'm wearing one on my inner corner that I'll show you in a moment. We have this one right here, which is called Alien Moon from our holiday quad. That's our finger swatch. Beautiful. So this one, it gives kind of the same vibes. You see a little bit more red, but it does kind of pull a little bit more cooler, kind of in terms of the shade that we have from the Jackie Aina palette. And then I'm gonna go ahead. So it's opaque, very nice quality. You do get more shine than I feel like you get with the one with the Jackie Aina palette. But so far, I think that Sydney Grace one has been really just, in terms of the dupe of the blue brown, that Sydney Grace one has been amazing. But this one is really great as well. And you get a lot of shine with this shade. All right, so next up from Mama Pat, we have Celestial Divinity. So this is a Mothership Mega, and this one actually came out in 2020. Now, this one might be a little bit more inspired by, but it's giving those vibes. And we have the shade Dragonfly. Now, in this palette, Dragonfly was a new shade because, you know, this and these two sets of 6 pans were actually from the Star Wars collection. So this shade right here is actually the shade Dragonfly. Oh man, this palette is pretty. I have to use it. So much makeup. So here we go. There's our finger swatch. This is Dragonfly right here. So this one I feel like it's a little bit more muted, but it's definitely giving the vibes of Alien Moon for sure. Doesn't have as much red, more green. Now Mama Pat, you don't give us a whole lot of colorful shades, so we cannot be duping the same shade. So I feel like I see more lime green in this one, but it is definitely it's giving Alien Moon for sure. This is Dragonfly. All right, we have one more by Mama Pat, and it's what I have on the inner corner of my eyelids. So it's the sparkly shade, and this is VR Sextasy. So this is from Mothership 10. Moonlight Seduction. Really beautiful. I'm sure you can already tell which one I'm showing to you. So this formula is a little bit more flaky. It is smooth, but it's definitely more flaky and definitely more sparkle versus the other shades in terms of just formulation. So we have our finger swatch. So you can tell, you can see how much more textured this particular shade is. This one, like I said, you get the sparkle, you get the shine. I see a lot of red coming through and lots of little reflex and glitters or fine sparkles of our turquoisey shade. But it is very smooth, even though it is a little bit more flaky to touch. And as you can see, it's not as opaque as the other shades, but lots of shine. Here, we have it here. Another really great dupe for our blue brown is from this Tom Ford quad. So this is actually my only Tom Ford quad, and this is Photosynthesex, okay? Oh, I thought I lost something. It was just the little brushes. So here we are right here at the top. Beautiful formula, very smooth, very creamy. Has a little bit more texture, a little bit more grit to it, but still very smooth for the sparkles. Immediately I see more turquoise and not so much as the base color of the blue or the red or the brown. So a great dupe, but not exact on, and you don't get as much color shifting with this particular shade, but of course paired here, you're kind of getting the same effect. And it's pretty opaque, but you can see not as much of that red. More turquoise, but a lot of the same effect with this shadow. All right, so now I have my Sugar Drizzle palette, and this is the Pizza Kitty palette. And I saw the shade and I was like, yep, let's go ahead and add it in. So we have the shade down below called Space Dog right here. And this one is definitely smooth, and I definitely see a lot of red in this particular shadow. It's a little bit softer in nature, but you can definitely see it. Has to shine where that blue is picking up and reflecting off the light. And if you're my complexion or maybe a little deeper, this is perfect shade for you. That's why Aina included her palette. But also, like, if you want to just kind of get into some more standout shades, but it's stand out, but it's still giving neutral, especially when you pair it with these berry mattes because of that red base. So this one definitely, you can see the more red base. Not as opaque, but really beautiful at the same time, and really feels really nice. You get some shine there too. All right, the next 4 shades, I feel like these are kind of honorable mentions now that I look at it and I've swatched the other shades, because these shades, they pull more green versus more teal. Let's see, so the first one, but they definitely have like a red green base, okay? So the first one I have is by the Glam Shop, and this is the shade Zyg-Zag, okay? And I really love this shade, but I couldn't think of it. I was like, okay, this is giving more teal in my eyes. This one is actually, it's not a glitter. This is a turbo. So yeah, some of the turbo pigments, they're amazing. Lots of sparkle, lots of shine, but not glitter, okay? So as you can see, you're gonna get the red with the green. So I would say that these shades are kind of inspired by and not more so direct on dupes like the last shades I just showed you. And you see how you're definitely getting a lot of red reflex with this, a lot of brown reflex, but this is a really good dupe. I actually love this shade. It's one of my favorite shades from the Glam Shop. I definitely recommend this shade. And I have a whole swatch party of all my Glam Shops. And you see on this one, you're getting more green. You're definitely getting that blue-brown appeal. You're getting a lot of that red reflect. I can definitely see that in the monitor. But it's pulling more green versus more teal, like how my eye is. But still, nonetheless, I feel like it's definitely inspired by the blue-brown shades. So pretty. Actually, these 3 shades are actually by the Glam Shop. So this is actually from the Turbina palette. And this is not the same shade, but it falls along the line, and it's called Turbina. This palette, you can't get it any longer on their website, which is really a shame. Beautiful, beautiful shades. You see the reflex. So kind of very similar to Zyg-Zag. Kind of feels the same way, turbo glow. If you have this shade, you don't necessarily need Zyg-Zag, probably. So, but this one definitely feels a little bit more gritty versus the other one. I feel like the other one has definitely more pigment. This one is still reading the same, but I definitely see more green versus the teal vibes that we've been seeing prior before. So as you can see with our palm swatch, it's definitely not as opaque, but really pretty nonetheless. You're definitely getting that red peeking through. Really, really gorgeous. All right, our last shade by the Glam Shop comes from this palette, which is our Camo Glam palette. Really beautiful. Now this shade actually had a little hard pan on me. I've had this palette. Oh, this palette came out in, what did it say, in 2020. But I use this shade a lot. Here it is. Really beautiful. So I just kind of scraped up a little bit, like to get that hard pan off. And I did it just basically in the middle. I could probably use to do it a little bit around here, but it really helped to get that off of there. Sometimes you just have to be careful with the, you know, your fingers and having oils and things like that on there and your brushes. But here we have the shade from our Camo Glam palette. So this one is giving, it's giving that red, it's giving a little bit more green. Really beautiful shade. This is called, yeah, it'll be down on the bottom screen because I can't pronounce it. The Glam Shop is a Polish native, a Polish indie brand. That's what I'm trying to say. So this one is a little bit more smooth, gets a lot of green reflex, but definitely you see the red shift for sure. And this one is a little bit more opaque, okay, and not as sparkly as the other two that I showed by the Glam Shop. And you definitely see, I feel like a little bit more green when I put it here on my palm of my hand. There you go, you see that red shift. Really, I love this shade. So both, I guess I have a thing for the blue-brown shades, you know? All right, now last but not least, so we have the Follow Your Dreams palette. This is by Saint Angel Centers, and this is their collaboration with Smeek Briande. I really love this palette. The formula is great. But I know it's been a lot of drama with the brand, okay? But the makeup, this palette is wonderful. And it doesn't take away from the creator because that wasn't her fault. But we have the shade Fantasy down here. Look at it. Really, really gorgeous. This is the shade Fantasy. I actually just wore it this week because it's like, ooh, this palette makes it. I really like this palette. I feel like one of the best releases of 22. So this one, I feel we get more turquoise, we're getting a little more lavender, and we're still getting some of that reddish shift to it. So I wouldn't say it's on par like all of them, but you're definitely getting some of those vibes from it. I would say this one's more a little bit more inspired by, not direct dupe, because you don't get a very green, or I'm sorry, brown base. You get a very little bit. When I turn my hand ever so slightly, you get a little purple shift, if you can kind of see it, but not very strong, but just a really gorgeous, gorgeous shade. Okay, we have one more. Okay, I was like, let me check my Alien Cosmetics All I Ever Wanted palette. So have the first version here. We have the shade Europa. Yep, she's giving the blue-brown vibes, honey. So this is what the shade looks like if you have this palette right down here. This one's really smooth. This one we're going back to that standard turquoise, but you definitely see that red slash purpley brown base. You definitely see it, really smooth, get a lot of shine. And this one you are getting some opaqueness. You can definitely see that red base when I put it on my palm. Look at that. So I think that's it. I'm not gonna go digging for anything else in my collection. I'm probably sure I could find like maybe 1 to 2 more shades, especially all these shimmer palettes that I have. But oh my goodness, you can definitely tell that, you know, if you have any extensive makeup collection, especially if you're dealing with any of these indie brands, you're going to have a few dupes. I know at one point I did have something by ColourPop as well. I think Makeup Shayla had a shade in her palette. Maybe it was named Titus, or one of the shades was definitely blue brown in her Perception palette. I really like that palette, but I decluttered it a while ago. But oh my goodness, so really great. So when we had maybe about 4 shades that kind of leaned the other way, more green, but everything else was leaning towards the teal, definitely blue brown vibes that the MAC Pigment gave us. So right now I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna swatch them all down my arm so you can kind of see them all compared together. I'm gonna swatch them basically in the order I presented them, except for I'm gonna line this up with the other shades that it matches with. This is Europa. And then we're gonna jump into the tutorial. I'm actually talking through the tutorial, so let's go ahead, jump into swatches and tutorial. Let's go ahead and get started with the tutorial part. My eyebrows are already filled in. I'm using my Benefit Cosmetic Goof Proof Pencil, shade 3.75 as always, along with my Urban Decay Primer Potion in the shade Caffeine. Now, for the mattes, I am going to jump in with Mothership 10 since this is one of the palettes we're talking about. And what is the shade called? It's Blitz something Moon 6. Chad, I don't know. Something Moon in the... One second. All right, now that I got the little name card, it's called VR Sextasy. I knew it was something sex. I did not know, but I really pulled the palette out because I want to use the mattes first to base the look off of. So I'm gonna jump in first. Let's see, with Rosewood. Do I want to use that one or do I want to use Plum Cabaret? I wonder. Do I want to here? Do I want here? Here or here? There or there? They both kind of look about the same, to be honest. Maybe I'll do more Rose Cabaret. Yeah, is that what it's called? No, Plum Cabaret, because it has a little bit more red and plum to it. So I'm gonna use that as the first transition color. And right here, I just have a What's Up Beauty R104 brush. These brushes are really nice. And I'm just gonna like pat that in and start our look off. Although I have about 50,000 shades I could use for this look. Probably mattes included. I'm just blending it back and forth. Little windshield wiper motions. Just gonna build that up and kind of blow it out some. And I'm going to bring some into the inner corner. Let's see, it's a little wet right there. My eye trying to do that whole little tear up thing. All right, we got that first shade down. So I'm liking how that's looking. I think I'm going to go ahead, because I just can't help myself sometimes. Just going to go ahead and take this, what is this, a Sonia G Worker Pro, and I'm gonna go in with Extreme Nocturne. And just gonna give myself just a little depth out here. I don't know if we need it, but just gonna place it in there. And I really do like these matte shades in this palette. I just wish that the two were not so close together, but this one really does it for me. This shade, this is Extreme Nocturne. All right, now let's go with the star of the show. We have our infamous Blue Brown Pigment by MAC. It's a gazillion years old. Yes. So what I typically do, because these are the larger jars, I actually prefer these, even though I know you don't need all that product. But here's the little cap. And I usually just sit it down in the cap, like such. Makes it easier. Have all this wonderful pigment here. You see how full it is. It's still full. You'll never run out of this. But I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to take my brush that I usually use for most of my shimmers, which is the Sonia G Builder Pro. Now I'm going to dip my brush into the cap, pick up a nice amount, and it's just like no different than using any other eyeshadow. Here we are on the brush. And what I do know about these, I've been using mix and mediums for a long time. MAC had their own mix and medium. You can usually find it at the pro store. I'm going to take my Mayra mix and medium that's in this little spray bottle, because if you're familiar with the actual product, it's a mess. I don't know how you're supposed to work that without spilling it. So, got the Mix Medium sprayed on there. Don't want to spray too much because you don't want to liquefy the shadow. I might have sprayed a tiny bit too much. That's why I'm letting it dry for a second. And I'm just going to start patting on my eye. Look how beautiful. And my brush is still a little damp. Just gonna go back into the cap and just kind of lay it down how I want to. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. Shadow's old as dirt. old as dirt. Oh yeah, and these matte choices were excellent with it. Like that's basically it. That's the look, ladies and gentlemen. So that's beautiful. Now I'm just gonna jump back in and I'm going in with VR Sextasy. So that shade has a little sparkle to it, so we can do a little sparkly inner corner action. I'm gonna go ahead and take a flat definer by Sana G. Same thing, just gonna go in, just pick up a little bit, and I'm gonna wet this with my Mayron Mixing Medium as well. So I feel like this one, it needs just a little something just to stick. It's a tiny bit flaky. And I'm just gonna pop this in the inner corner. You know, just a little razzle dazzle. And I think I'm just gonna kind of bring some right in there. There we go. All right, I'm gonna go and do the rest of my face. Here are the eyes so far. Really pretty. Yep, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. This is the final look. Oh my gosh, it came out gorgeous. I just love how it looks. So I decided while I was off camera to go ahead and put a little bit of VR Sextasy, wrapped it just down here just to give it a little extra sparkle. For my waterline, I went ahead and took this green pencil by NYX Cosmetics. Let's see, it is called... what is it called? It's called Tropical Green, but it's such a beautiful, it's green. It doesn't give dark. It gives more hunter green vibes, but a little deeper, okay? Not as bright. Then for my foundation, I went in with my Pat McGrath foundation, followed up with her concealer and medium deep 20 and the foundations in medium deep 22. I went in with my tried and true bronzer. You already know if you've been here any amount of time, it is the Mented Cosmetics Vacay bronzer. This is the shade I'm using now because of my tan. Usually I've been using my Gucci bronzer. Been trying to finish those. Then for blush, I took my Pat McGrath blush palette from the Bridgerton collection. Everything's always upside down around here. And I went in with these two shades right here. And then for highlight, I went in with my Best Bloods Glow Blush from Menagerie Cosmetics. That gives a little nice sheen. Here we go. And for the lips, took my Juvia's Place lip liner in the shade, this is Cola. And it's a really great dupe for the MAC Cosmetics Chestnut. Really nice lip liner, and took it with the shade Kibi. This is also from Juvia's Place, their matte lipstick collection. So those are the face details. I hope you enjoyed my video. I just think that this was a lot of fun, and this is something that I've had brewing in my head forever. Of course, there's so many dupes out there when it comes to makeup. I mean, we can only, who invented a new color? Somebody gonna invent a new color? Invent a new color. But But I'm sure this would actually be fun to do this with some multi-chrome. So I'm gonna like put that in my wheelhouse, and I'm not gonna take as long to do it. It's because I told you I've been thinking about this video since like 2020, and I just now sat down to do it. But leave me a comment down below. It's just so fun to see how this shade right here, the original OG, has evolved, and all these dupes I have for it in my makeup collection. So leave me a comment down below. Did you enjoy the tutorial? Did you enjoy this video in general, just to see how many shades you kind of have alike? You know, let me know down below. Give this video a big old thumbs up. Hit the notification bell so you know when I come out with another video, which will be soon. And please subscribe to my channel, because you know I would love to have you here in my little makeup family. And with all of that being said, you already know what time it is. It's time for the chat dance, chat dance. Hey, 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 chat dance. Chat dance. Chat dance. Hey, chat dance. Chat. Hey. All right, y'all. Bye.